Hello, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Sunrise. It is this lovely day. I'm Chamberlain. So,
indeed, it's a cool morning here in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. Good morning and welcome. I'm Maupe Ogoni.
Well, yes, it's 28 degrees centigrade here in Abuja, but today is a big day for residents, citizens of Edo State, because they will be getting an inauguration, change of government, basically. And so, yeah, all of these areas will be busy. The Ramat Park in Benin City, very close, not too far from some of the areas where the action will be going on today in the city. So the much awaited day for the APC, which will be taking over from the PDP government in Edo State today.
Indeed, Chamberlain. Well, quite a bit of, will I say, controversy has flowed before today, but whether or not, you know, there was controversy or not, you know, there is going to be an inauguration today, and I think that's the most important thing. But before now, we had seen Governor Godwin Obaseki, who is still governor as of today and as of this morning, until the inauguration takes place and the new governor takes oath of office, you know, complaining about how the inauguration was happening without the involvement of the current government in power. And
did you really want to be part of it?
Well, he said that, you know, that's how things ought to be, that there ought to be a flow from one government to the other. And ideally, I think it's interesting that, you know, he wanted to be a part of it, but somehow he felt like it was being excluded, or the government was being excluded. They set up a transition committee. I think he asked members of the APC to send their own members so that there could be a smooth handing over. But clearly, there's still a lot of bad blood going on between the APC and the PDP in the aftermath and the fallout of the concluded elections. But don't forget, they're still very much in court. The matters are going to be in court for a while until they are resolved, you know, either which way, by whichever, by the justices themselves. Let us see how that eventually translates. But I think that if we're to go with what we've seen so far, it clearly means that there is going to be a division. There is a division amongst the people of Edo State. And I think that whoever it is that will be governor will have his work cut out for him to reconcile the, you know, many different factions. Let them know it's supposed to be one great Edo State. It doesn't matter who is at the helm of affairs or who has won at the end of the day, whether it is through the polls or whether it is through the courts. At the end of the day, that person will have a job to reconcile the people of Edo State to be able to achieve the greatness that they truly desire. But this morning, I think it's going to be the day of, it's going to be APC's day in the sun.
Oh, yeah, as a matter of fact.
5 billion naira. Was it 5 billion naira we heard? How much did we hear was expected on this?
Well, we'll find out from them and ask them directly, because sometimes they could tell you, no, I misquoted. No, you were. Don't worry. They will tell us, we hope, at the end of the day. But the messages, you know, part of what you highlighted, I think may be lost on the people, basically, because at the end of the day, developing this city, Benin City and Edo State, it doesn't matter which political party, really, because at the end of the day, all you want is development. So it's just about, look, who can do it better, who can deliver. So when all of those supporters keep killing themselves, what they don't know, which sometimes they may hear, but they fail to understand, is these chaps, politicians, behind the scenes, they work together. They work together. So if democracy, as it is, incidentally, we held there was a conference yesterday about whether or not we should switch from presidential or parliamentary, and so who knows, what will that even change? But in any case, the governor is the chief host, isn't he? So is he not supposed to play the role of a chief host? So was he? But one wonders, where is he at the moment? Because we're hearing all sorts of things in terms of his whereabouts at the moment.
It is.
So
the more you look, the less you see. The more you hear, the even more less you see. You know. So we'll see. I mean, if the governor will be there to directly hand over. But Chamberlain, whenever it is that another party in power takes over power, I think we've seen that example at the federal level. And I think we need to learn to imbibe that at the state level. The subnationals are a real headache. Chimley, when we think about all the examples, all the things we require and we expect at the federal level, let's just think about it for a moment, that a president of one party, you know, is handing over to another president-elect from another party, and that president is not there. The sitting president is not there to hand over. You know, there is an awkwardness, but I think there's even a special ceremony for the president to, you know, to perform while he's there. There must be a physical handing over of documents, and then that president
pulls out.
Yes, it's pulled out and
ceremonial man.
Yes. So, but now in the state or at the state level, I think it's almost taken for granted that the governors will not be there. Why? Because there's always a fear that immediately after the handover, the EFCC picks them up. You know, so there are all manner of rumors that, oh, the governor has since fled. The governor says, I think he released a statement yesterday to say, you know, he's still very much around. He has not fled anywhere. He's still the governor of Edo State, etc. It's unclear what the situation is, but we'll see what will happen today as to whether or not there will be a formal handing over of, you know, credentials and documents to the sitting governor, or whether this is a new example or this is a new trend that we can expect to continue with what we're currently seeing in Edo State.
Well, two or three things. It's either they don't respect the people of the states when they don't want to, because it's a mark of honor of the states if those processes are followed. It only makes systems work better, because if you see it happens at the federal level, it has that everybody looks at it, everybody sees it, and so it sends a different kind of meaning. It comes a lot of things that people don't know. But when it comes to the states and those things don't happen, either who knows?
Yeah, but I think also the federal has a role to play here. Is it really true that we're about to use the EFCC to hound them?
No.
Don't forget that there's been an investigation of some sort, and there have been recommendations.
But if you have nothing to hide, should you be afraid of the EFCC? If you've served properly and you say, listen, the books are there, check the books. You should walk with your chest real high, saying, look, I've got nothing to hide. So it's either they have a lot to hide, or the governors don't care about the people in terms of, look,
but even if you have nothing to hide, Chamberlain, think about it. Even if you have nothing to hide and somebody is offering to just, you know, harass you for, it's like with the police. I mean, people who run away from the police, it's not that they have anything to hide. You just know that sometimes the hunter might soon become the hunted. So you have to be very careful. Nobody really wants to be doing any police business, and so to speak. So sometimes it might just be that, or it might be that, as you said, maybe there's something to hide. But I don't think that the threat of that should now be what we have hanging over governors who, you know, are about to leave office. I mean, look at the ridiculous suit that we heard the governor of Lagos was said to have been filing until the government of Lagos State came out to say no, the governor never filed any such thing, and he has disowned the suit that the EFCC wants to chase him, you know, when he leaves office, which is 3 years from now, and he was filing the fundamental. So those kinds of things, they don't bode well for the work that the EFCC is supposed to be doing. If the EFCC wants to do its work, it will do its work. It should not be a thing of, you know, we're using the EFCC to threaten, you know, governors who are about to leave office. That doesn't really make any sense, does it?
Well, I think it does make sense when we heard that the president had pardoned remember the Ogoni 9, remember that? So I think it's a very, very important thing, because lots of people have been speaking about what needs to be done. Have they gone down, forgotten? What's the implication of that? Any means of reconciliation? But some of the words that were used there, what he says, he wants to ensure that all ethnic groups, you know, certain things are done. I think it strikes the right chord among several other persons who are listening, because, I mean, you know what they say about equity, justice, certain things just flow naturally. You don't see, because it has huge implications in terms of how the people eventually also see governance, how they behave. So these are some of the things that, at the end of the day, I think it sends a very right signal.
Well, Chimling, I was hoping to take this up when we eventually go to the papers, and I'm sure that we're about to go to the papers now, and we'll be due for that shortly. But certainly, the president should be commended for the remembrance of the Ogoni 9. We'll look forward to a further honoring of their memories. We'll look forward to, perhaps the immortalization of these people who stood and fought for justice for their people. I mean, look at what we're talking about now. We've been told that it would take over 30 years to remediate the land and the damage that was done as a result of, prospecting for oil in Ogoni land. So they certainly, had a point. And I think that it's important that a country acknowledges that many years later, that some people fought, at the price of their lives to bring attention to that particular situation in Ogoni land. So it is highly commendable that they have been remembered. I still remember where I was. Chamberlain was one of the very many horrors of growing up, huddled around the radio, transistor radio. I still remember listening, wondering whether these 9 people who had been condemned to death, whether they will be saved, because we know that there were lots of efforts going around to see how it was that, people around the world could prevail on General Sani Abacha then to change his mind about the condemnation that these people, had been, the fate that they had been condemned to. But thankfully, well, sadly, that did not happen then. But many years down the line, I think a country recognizes that what was done then was wrong. And I think that the president, well, this is a major step. I think that there needs to be a formal apology tendered to the people of Ogoni land. And tended to the families of these people. Interestingly, Mr. Ken Saro-Wiwa's son died a few years back as well. He served for a brief time in the Jonathan government, but he too is late now. Well, I think there's still members of the family that are still alive, and of course the chiefs, who also were martyred alongside himself. Their families too deserve an apology, a formal apology from the Nigerian government for the injustice that their families suffered. And also, it's a good thing to see that there's remediation happening now on Ogoni land, and we hope that that is something that there will be concerted efforts to ensure that the land is eventually restored to them.
All right, so let's take you through some of the papers now. Let's take you through some of the dailies we've got for you this morning. We start off with Nigerian Tribune today. IPMAN, Dangote reach agreement on direct lifting of petrol, diesel, others. That is a big lead right here today. Beneath this lead story, Ondo Guba. Last minute preparations peak as APC, PDP, INEC set for Saturday poll. From then on to the Guardian newspaper, healthcare on life support as hospitals buckle under power crisis. That's how the paper reports this morning. And then look at some of the writers here. Up to 20% of fee increase as energy costs strain budgets. Staff resort to phone flashlights amid surgery delays, disrupted clinic schedules. Hospitals seek prioritization by electricity distribution due to life-saving services. But then the Daily Times follows up seemingly with that. Wickedness, pain, and exclusive preserve of Tinubu's government, ascribed to Atiku, says President's economic policies approach to governance killing Nigerians. Daily Independent is a different narrative. 765 flights cancelled, 19,250 delayed in Nigeria in 6 months. Delta Airlines tops flight delays among foreign carriers. Dana Airlines lead local operators with 69% delays, the paper reports this morning. Beneath that one, varsity education at risk if proposed tax reforms are passed, ascribed to ASU. And it says, education tax remittance to TET fund in 2024 hits 1.5 trillion naira. The rider reads here today. And then also big one for Edo today. Nigerian News Direct. Edo Okwebolo to be sworn in today as Transition Committee probes 410 billion naira debt. Recommends review of MOU for newly commissioned Stella Obasanjo Hospital. Leadership newspaper, experts seek regional front against Lakurawa as FG to adopt multi-dimensional approach to threat. Want intelligence gathering, sharing, strengthen. And then the Vanguard, value of unsold goods rises to 357.6% to 1.24 trillion naira. That's ascribed to Manufacturers Association of Nigeria here today. But they've got several riders of which you can everybody go ahead and take a look at this one. Or this Nigeria, homegrown system of government will solve our ills. Angle, Bugaji, others say US presidential system has only bred poverty, insecurity, and corruption in Nigeria. So, what next after that one? Greek collapse linked to severe vandalism, says TCN. Business Day. Forex receipts at risk as PSC JV production drops 35%. PIA unfinished business lingers. Or the Daily Trust, Saudi summit, Tinubu, Prince Salman, others demand end to Israel's aggression in Gaza. Those are the headlines. All right, so there you go. Those are some of the dailies we've got for you this morning. But yeah, as you may have seen in some of the dailies, we'll be focusing on the inauguration coming up today in Benin City. But don't worry, we will be right back in just a moment. Stay on with us.
An invitation to the swearing-in ceremony of Senator Monday Okpeholo as governor of Edo State is clearly visible for everyone to see on the streets of Benin City, the Edo State capital. The All Progressives Congress APC say they're ready for the big day in spite of hitches in the handover documents received from the outgoing administration.
Although there were a lot of bottlenecks from the government side, this outgoing government side, but of course, at least we have a document that he will work with. The areas where they pointed out have been pointed out to him. And if you see, I came in a little bit late to this program. It's as a result of going around to ensure that everything is in place for tomorrow. So preparation are in top gear, and by tomorrow we will experience a very good handing over and taking over.
The planning of the event did not go down well with the PDP, as Governor Godwin Obaseki had accused the APC of not carrying everyone along. The Labour Party in the state has a similar complaint, but insists that it is not a problem as long as the APC governs Edo State fairly.
We just hope that the APC government will begin to appreciate the fact that everybody in Edo State now will serve under them and be fair to every citizen of Edo State. But I can tell you that very clearly, at the moment, my party has not been invited to the inauguration. Perhaps it's not in their rule to do that.
For those that will be in attendance, security is assured by the police.
The Commissioner of Police, CP Umoru Peter Ozigi, PSC MNIPS, has also issued a directive to all the divisional police officers, tactical commanders, to ensure that they deploy their men for stop and search and also visibility policing to patrol, to ensure that they're ward off any miscreants that might want to foment or cause any trouble on that day or disrupt any events. I can assure you that we are on top of the game and will ensure that it is a seamless one.
From all indications, all roads lead to the Samuel Ogbemudia Stadium as Senator Monday Okpeholo prepares to be sworn in as the 6th civilian governor of Edo State.
All right, so there you go. It's going to be It's a big day in Benin City, the Edo capital, as we did tell you in our opening sequence. So a lot of people will be expecting different things, really, because it's different strokes for different folks.
Indeed. Right
there in the state, and as expected, big wigs of the APC have gathered there in the state to participate in this particular one. There are several people who will be really happy today in terms of how that has turned out, so which is to be expected naturally. So we'll see. But as you may have seen in that walk opening slide, with the Deputy Governor, His Excellency Philip Shaibu, will be joining us this morning to just talk us through what to expect. Let's go over and see if we can get that. Good morning, Your Excellency. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, Chibilin. Good morning.
Okay. I see you have a cap. What's going on? What? And a big smile as well. You must be very excited today.
I'm very, very excited. I thank God, and I want to thank all Nigerians, thank Edo people for their prayers. I'm so excited and happy, just in a hurry to go and hand over to the governor and deputy governor elect. I'm so excited. Often is finished.
Oh, fantastic. That's good to know, actually. But wait a minute, you said you want to go and hand over. Is it that the governor is not there to hand over? I mean,
yes.
Since you've been deputy governor, of course you can sit in. Is that the case?
You know, the office of the governor is one. So if the governor is not present, the deputy governor will hand over. But whether it's there or not, I'm already ready to hand over to the deputy governor of deputy governor elect of Edo State. We already have it immediately after the swearing in. We'll go to the office and hand over. All the documents are ready. We were in the office yesterday to show him around, and so we are ready. We are excited and happy.
But is it true what we hear, that the governor is not in town, even though he put up a press release saying, nope, he is right there? What do you know about this?
You know, the governor and I have been a little bit apart. All through I was in the office yesterday. He was not in government house. And I saw him last 4 days back. So I've not seen him for the past 4 days. And I've not had any communication, though he doesn't communicate with me. And we don't talk to each other. Very unfortunate. This is the first time in Edo State where a governor and deputy governor, we have to part without talking to each other. I made all the effort, but you know, some of these things don't bring in. This one of those things that when we are bringing up our children, we really need to be sure that the right lessons are taught. I did all my best to establish that even when tongue and teeth quarrel, they do settle. But today is a day for merriment. Today is a day to settle. Today is not a day of lamentation. But what is key is that I am deeply happy, thankful to God that this day has come, and I'm going to be handing over to a deputy governor elect, and all my wishes are come to fusion. So I'm happy. I'm happy and thank Edo people, thank Nigerians. I am one deputy governor that I've gone through a lot. Chimbili, you know what it takes for 19 months? 19 months, no salary, no overhead, and you are not owing any staff in the office. You are not owing all your security aids. It's only God that can make that work, and I'm able to keep the sanctity and the sanity of the office of the deputy governor. Nobody will say the deputy governor office is a spare tire again in Nigeria. And that is one thing I've been able to establish. And anybody that wants to behave like Obaseki, we have to think. You remember the Edo episode.
Well, I'm just a little curious, Your Excellency. I mean, I can understand your, your exhilaration and the joy that you feel and the excitement that you feel. I'm looking at you now, and I'm looking at the flags beside you. I see the Nigerian flag and I see the APC flag. You're back in the APC, is that correct?
Very, very correct. I said this was some of the excitement. You see, I started I am one of those that was a very young guy that were part of the formation of APC. I started from ACD, APC, and because of loyalty, I went with my governor to PDP. Not because I want to go to PDP. I said that, and I was quoted by the national body of PDP when I said in one of the PDP meetings that I am not in PDP because I want to be in PDP. I'm in PDP because of my loyalty to my governor. And when I returned because of him, I left APC, and because of him, I returned to APC. So my excitement in that God has also used him for me to be able to reunite with my father, which because of him, I had quarrel with Comrade Adam Oshomole and a lot of my other followers. Like I've never stopped saying it, and I was never ashamed to say that fight cost me up to 20% of my original supporters. But I can tell you, my fight back, I've gained that 20% back, and I've gotten more. You know, the legacy coalition, where we returned to APC. When we came to PDP, it was just APC that left to join PDP. But when I was returning back to APC, those that I met in PDP, the origin of PDP, joined me to return to APC. So in a nutshell, APC has benefited from my even going to PDP. So I'm happy that I came in as APC. I am handing over again as APC. So to God be the glory. I feel like putting my dancing shoes.
I've been seeing you dancing really on the campaign trail. But you know, there have been, as I was commenting to Chamberlain this morning, there have been lots of controversy in this handovers, in the preparation to the handover ceremony. There have been talks about how APC has been going about it alone, you know, as if they're going to be a government for APC people alone. And people have been wondering what exactly is going on here. Shouldn't the sitting government also have been involved in the transition activities? They said they set up a committee and they invited members of the APC, but it seems that they were shunned and that they had no hand or no participation in the ceremony that is happening today. Is that correct?
No. That is not correct. That is not correct. You see, because of the attitude of our governor, is still the governor till the ceremony takes place this morning. A lot of us from the government were asked not to associate with anybody without the permission of the governor. So when these committees were being formed, the governor gave directive. So until the directive of relating with others is lifted by him, nobody will relate with any other person. That is how the system works with Obaseki. So when I heard him say that he's not invited, he's not supposed to be invited. It is his program. It's a transition. He's supposed to make funds available. He's supposed to put most of the things in place, bringing the committee have been set by APC. So he is supposed to lead. So if he that is supposed to lead is not available, and those that are supposed to be asked to join to lead are not given instruction, nobody will move. So that's how the system that was work. So all these issues, I was not invited, we are not carried along, is just fallacy. It just wear a face in the public, which is the normal thing that it has been used to for the past 2 years. So it just disregard that statement. That statement is just to wear.
Your Excellency, I don't think he said we're not invited. I don't think he said we were not invited. I think he said something to the effect that APC is going at it alone, that they have tried to, you know, set up a transition committee. And he was saying that there is a way things are done, that, you know, even if the APC was the one that won, that it is the duty of their office to hand over from one government to the other. But that, you know, that has been truncated by the attitude of the APC. Is it true?
No, it's not true. For instance, I wrote from my office to the deputy governor-elect, and I wrote to him from the office that I need him to send his team to us so that we can start preparation process of handing over. That was last month. And my team and his team have been working. They have been working. And yesterday we had a final meeting to show them areas of gains and areas that we didn't do well, areas we thought they should also improve. We went around and waiting for today to officially now hand over every document, office, and everything to them. So if that has been working well, I wonder why that of the governor is not working. For me, we've been working very well with them.
Yeah, but I mean, you make it seem like as if you're working in silos. I would imagine. Yeah, I would imagine that there will be a transition committee, like we see at the federal level. There is one big committee peopled by members of the APC, members of the PDP, as the case might be, from one government to the other. You know, one big committee. It does what you're painting is a picture of working in silos. Is that what it has been like?
Yeah, that's what has been. If you check the transition committee, APC formed, the government formed. They met. Yesterday, the transition committee submitted its report. The inauguration committee was also formed, but that of Edo State government, as I speak, I'm the deputy governor. I don't know who is the chairman of the state government committee. I don't know. So I waited before I had to now write my own letter to the deputy governor-elect. Like, look, I need to transit. We need to have this conversation. This inauguration is coming up. I formed a team of 9, and he brought a team of 9, and we've been working together. But that of the governor's office, as I speak, I don't know who is chairman. There was never a day that a committee for inauguration was formed. Only transition. There was a committee for transition, but there was no committee by Edo State government as it is for inauguration. Yeah, there are 2 committees that were formed by APC, transition and inauguration. There's only one that was formed by Edo State government, transition committee, and there was interaction in those committees.
Okay. Let me quickly ask you, do you know how much this inauguration, I know it's APC's day in the sun, and of course, as you've already pointed out, it's a day for merriment. But even at that, there have been, you just mentioned the fact that, you know, the money wasn't provided by the sitting government, the current government in office that, you know, will be former, which you're a part of, will be former in a few hours. Do you know how much is actually voted to celebrate? Yeah, do you know how much is actually voted to celebrate the inauguration today?
From the government end or from APC end?
From APC's end. Now. Or from any end?
Well, I don't know. From government end, also I don't know. You know, I've been deputy governor funding the office of the deputy governor by myself for the past 19 months. For 19 months, Obaseki has not released any kobo to office of the deputy governor of Edo State. And my last check as deputy governor was May 25th, 2023. My last overhead as deputy governor was March 18. That was when I got an alert that there was X. So every other activities that we have had in the office is funded. And for the glory of God, I am not owing any staff. I'm not owing the security. Their DTAs are paid, but government is owing me, interestingly. Okay. It's only God that can do the magic. But I'm happy. I'm really happy that I'm happy that I'm ending strong and well, but I'm not happy that Obaseki have left a legacy of division living. It's not a good record that him and the deputy governor and the government that he was a leader is divided at the end. I don't think it's a good legacy anybody will want to bequeath. But no matter what, it's lessons for him, a lesson for us, and lesson for others that unity is key to any success.
Well, I'm just a little. I asked this because there have been.
Don't underrate anybody.
There has been information flying around that. Yeah, there's been information flying around that it cost about 5 billion naira to do the inauguration today, and that the APC took this as a loan from Access Bank. Is it true?
I also read it in. I read it in one of the social media platforms, and I'm not somebody that reacts to social media stories. I prefer if I've gotten that news from channels or I got that news for any other credible station, I will believe. But when it is in the social media, I don't believe such thing. These are all speculations. They are all speculative. I am not aware. Unless I hear or see any story in a credible platform like channel that I can quote and say and believe. So anything I see in the social media, I really don't believe it seriously. But the good news is that a lot of lesson, like I was saying, a lot of lesson has been learned. You see, I just finished mass, the last mass as deputy governor, because when I became deputy governor, I started with mass in a chapel. Just now, we just finished the last mass, and I bade everybody farewell as a Catholic. And I realized that, you see, God have told all of us to go and multiply. God told all of us to go and win souls. When somebody say, go to hell, go to hell, go to hell, everybody go to hell, and only you want to go to heaven, God will not even grant you the heaven, because God asks you to go and win soul. So if only you are coming, you will be lonely in heaven. That's what has happened to Obaseki today. He's going to be lonely, and God will not even grant him heaven because he has not fulfilled the commandment of God to go and win souls to heaven. Instead, he sent everybody to hell. You know, so it's a lesson that I have also learned, and I pray that I survive the loneliness. That is the truth. But today is not a day to cast aspersion. Today, like I said, I want to just have a lot of dancing party. I just finished that of church now. The next one is the social one. So I'm happy. I'm happy that I've ended well. I'm strong. I'm also happy that I'm able to be part of those that brought government back to APC. Yeah, we took APC out of government house, and I'm also part of those that returned APC to government house. So I fulfill my own task, and I'm happy.
You know, when you go through all of this, yes, you talked about how you're excited and looking forward, but looking back, some regret. Do you think this affects the kind of legacy that you would have wanted to leave at the end of the day?
Yes. It actually affects the legacy because we actually started well. We started very well. I will not, no matter the quarrel, I will say we started well. Chamberlain and Markwe, my heart bleeds. When I watch Pende Insurance lost to Kano Pillars in Samuel Ogoni Stadium on Saturday. I was almost full of emotion. I had to leave the stadium. I couldn't go down to see the players as usual, and unfortunately, when I left, I regretted leaving because I discovered that when I left, the referee allowed the fans had to go after the referee, which has led to Bender Insurance being fined 4 million, and they'll be deducting points from them. Bender Insurance now is at the bottom of the league. It's something regrettable. But the only joy and consolation is that Edo Queen is doing well in Morak. We've had some great times, some good policies that we've been able to implement. But you know, no matter how good your policies are, when you start fighting everybody, that fight is what the people will see. Nobody will know whether you have done anything good. It is the fight. Obaseki coming to fight the monarch, fight the deputy, fight even his own bishop of the Anglican, fight almost everybody. He has a record of fighting anybody that helps him. That is completely the regrets that he should have, and that is what I also have. I was loyal to a fault. I was loyal to a fault, and I'll continue to be loyal to whoever I work with. But one thing, like I've always said, loyalty and right are two separate things. Ambition and loyalty have to be separated, and
so
that is where the problem.
Why was he accusing you then of not being loyal?
Yeah, because for him, loyalty means that don't contest an election and I'll just go and sit down. Of which, for me, if you don't want me to contest an election, you should speak to me as an adult. You cannot call me and say, Philip, don't contest this election. If you contest, I will destroy you. You don't use the word destroy. If you contest this election, I will destroy you. I believe so. So for me, immediately he said, if I don't contest the election, if I contest the election, it will destroy me. The activism in me woke up. And for me, it's my right, it's my constitutional right to contest an election. If you don't want me to contest, call me and let me know your program. Sell your program to me. That's what Oshomole did. It took almost 3 months for Oshomole to convince me and my followers to support Obaseki. But eventually, because of Comrade in 2016, we supported him. So if Obaseki wanted to bring an Aswe, the first thing he would have done, if I was him as governor, the first thing I would do, I won't even bring Aswe first. I will sell the cards of let's have rotational office. I'm from Edo South, let's take it to Edo Central. From Edo Central, let's take it for Edo. Sell that first. It was a good story to sell and convincing one. Because he's from Benin, if he told me, look, let's now start zoning. Let's take it to Edo Central. And later on, Edo North. It would have been a story and it would have easily convinced me. After doing that, you can now maybe tell us, okay, now we have agreed to take it to Edo Central. Who do we zero on? You can play politics and now bring Aswe. Maybe Aswe will have now been accepted by us. But you cannot keep your own plans to yourself. Then I have started campaigning to be the governor of the state, meeting you, and you are telling me I have my plans. And I said, what is your plan? He said, your plan does not include me. And you are telling me you learned that I'm already canvassing votes. And if I don't stop, you destroy me. Is that how to talk to somebody? And Philip is one of those that made him governor. And when I said I made him governor, it's true. I'm not saying it out of because we're quarreling. I was drafted from House of Rep. I was doing well in Rep. I was drafted from House of Rep to add value to the ticket. Bring political value to his ticket. Then second term, you know what happened? Some of us queued behind him because we believe that Shomole wrongly disqualified him, and for all we saw it as an oppression. And we decided to be activists on that case, and we moved to support him. I haven't sacrificed for him. Beyond political sacrifice, Bakwe and Chamberlain, there are a lot of entitlement I refuse to even apply. Why? Because I saw him as somebody that when it comes to money is on his own. So I avoided anything that had to do with money with him. I don't involve in his the contract. I don't even my personal earnings. I refuse to anything that had to take a file to him for approval. I don't. Why? Because I don't want quarrel. I am deputy governor of Edo State for 8 years now. Only one Land Cruiser official car the governor approved to be purchased for me in the 3rd year of the first term. The second term, I never had any official vehicle by government. I said, that is official entitlement. But I never make a story out of it. I was managing myself all through because that was not my headache. My headache is I want to come and add value. I came from an artist background where my plan is to make name and help to build institutions. And because I know if you're able to fix those institutions and they are working, I don't need to be financially compensated. The system will help me in and out. So for me, I came with that mentality, with that ideology. of coming to build institutions that will help the governor when he's out of office, help the deputy governor when he's out of office, help the vulnerable when we're all out of office. But unfortunately, we started well, but he is ending Edo State divided. You can see even transition committee, inauguration committee, speculation, division. So you cannot be a leader and you are ending like this and you still be talking in public, because he divided the system, he divided the entire state. Father and son cannot talk to themselves. Traditional institution have its own issue. The Christian community is divided. His own Anglican church bishop, they don't talk to each other. So for me, it's not a good spirit around. But today, I prayed, we just finished Mass, I prayed for him, and I pray that God will help him as he move on. For me, I've moved on. I'm happy, I'm excited. Some of the things I said I'm going to do when I'm going to be handing over, I have the privilege and honor to do them. So when I came in, I know certain things that I didn't get. Now that I'm about to go, I said, whoever I'm going to hand over to, I will make sure that those things are done. Now,
so is it that your entitlements?
So for me, I'm happy.
But is the incoming government, are you likely going to apply that they give you those entitlements that you deserve?
I'm in court on all of them. In court on all of them. I took the governor and the Edo State to court on all of them. I am in court in all those issues.
Okay. Then we also understand that the Transition Committee submitted a report, and then they are seeking a probe into the 410 billion naira debt that the state owed. I mean, you were deputy governor. What do you know about this?
Yeah, I think beyond, it's more than, those debts is more than 400 billion. It's a little bit above 600 billion. Yeah. And I think the real thing we need to check, we also need to call back the former speaker. I think FCC and ICPC need to call the former speaker, Marcus Onubu. Some of those debts, looking back now, some of those debts were not approved by the Edo State House of Assembly. They were administratively approved. Marcus and the clerk signing document, forging document for approved loan. A lot of those documents were not, those approvals were not done by the House in the plenary. And I think beyond the issue of debt, we should also go deep into the document that the Governor Obaseki submitted for those loans. Some of them that need the resolution of the House did not pass those resolutions. But the Assembly signed and forged document to show that the House of Assembly passed them. So I think a lot of things, in the coming days, a lot of things will come up. For me, the governor should just face his work. The incoming governor should not bother with Obaseki. Let him just face his work and develop our state immediately. We, Philip Shaibu and others, will take it from there. After today, from next week or 2 weeks, I'll go maybe for just a week or 2 weeks break. Then we will now start dealing with the issues of those loans and the abnormality in the system. We must get to the root of all this. Why? Because when we were contesting in 2016, Obaseki and I said we are coming to govern the people who are going to be accountable. We say we're going to be accountable. I was given a responsibility. One of the major responsibilities I took in this government was this National Sports Festival. And when I was handing over reports of the National Sports Festival, and I did not only hand over the sight and sound, I handed over audited accounts. I even refunded the remaining balance of money that was left over. That is accountability. And all of us, it is time for us to account for what we did. I took an oath to preserve the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and I will follow it to the latter. So going forward, it's unfortunate that we took too much loans, and we inherited small, and we are leaving big debt behind. Debts are something that is desirable when it is necessary, especially for infrastructure. But debts are not for, I've always clamored that you should not take debts, loans for overheads. If you are taking loan, those loans must be tied to infrastructure, but that is the only way those loans can be repaid. So it's unfortunate that there's a lot of them. But my own concern is that looking at the documents now, I'm discovering that because I've avoided anything that had to do with contracts throughout Obaseki's government, I avoided it. So, but now I'm looking at the books, checking because of handing over and everything. I'm seeing that a lot of abnormalities are in the documents, and those things in the coming days will bring them to fruition.
You know, because many remember that some time ago, the governor at that time, in the last government, was saying the government was printing money and spending money. So people were of the impression that, no, he will definitely do something different. So are you telling us now that he was aware that these documents were forged and he went on with it, or is it that they forged it but he wasn't aware of something?
Well, I don't want to continue to talk about Obaseki negatively. I was in the system and I know a lot of things that took place, and I know a lot of things I was against. And if you remember, one of his aides came into the national, one of your program or one of the other stations, your program and the other station program, that one of the offense of the deputy governor, Philip Shaibu, is that he's always arguing with the governor. He's always arguing with the governor in the ESCO. Why will he be arguing with the governor in the ESCO? Those arguments was as a result of always trying to put them. I came from the legislative arm, and I was not a passenger, using the word. I went through the legislative arm went through me. I was very active in legal drafting. I had to go and buy Eskimo to understand legal drafting, to the extent that my colleagues rely on me even to draft bills. So I went to the house, so I understand the rule of law, I understand policies. So when we were in ESCO, I always bring to their notice that this offends the law, this offends the law, this does not conform with due process. But you know, I am somebody, when I'm in the system, I'll say my own. If the system want to go ahead, fine. But I can tell you authoritatively that a lot of things were abnormal, and I thought they will be corrected. But unfortunately, I think this is a lesson for all of us that are clamoring for private sector or technocrat to come and be governor. I don't have any problem with it, but I have problem with genuine technocrat. Obaseki came with the toga of a technocrat, but unfortunately, we did not check him properly. Obaseki is just a briefcase technocrat. He has not worked in a major organization that guaranteed that he gained experience to work in government, and he displayed it as governor of Edo State. And when I say we're filling in the gap, I mean we're filling in gap. Obaseki lacked public sector management sense. Those gaps was what we were filling. It doesn't have public management sense. So we had gaps as far as public sector management was concerned. And that actually, Obaseki does not believe that you have to wait for House of Assembly to pass certain thing before it's done. Obaseki does not believe that Civil Service Commission is the only one given the responsibility by the Constitution to employ civil servants. He doesn't believe it. All the employment that he did were done by Greenfield, not by the Civil Service Commission. So there are a lot I can go. Obaseki ran Subeb for 5 years without a board. And I went to him more than 20 times to say, look, sir, this is wrong. This is wrong. Every expenses that is made, this woman is going to be in trouble after government.
So are you confirming, Your Excellency?
Because any document she signed, was not going to be valid, because by the law, I was in the House of Assembly where we domesticated Subeb law. And by that law, you must have a board to be able to function. And I will go to him many times. He will not. So
Your Excellency,
I was in the system, I didn't know. I know.
Are you confirming then that it is true that the EFCC has now swooped down on Edo State? Is that correct?
Well, I read it in the newspaper that the AG is arrested. And I put a call to the AG to confirm his phones are not going. So I will agree that it's possible that the AG is actually in EFCC custody, because I tried to call him since then, his phones are off. So Is
it the Accountant General or the Attorney General? Is that the Accountant General or the
Accountant General?
Okay.
The Accountant General, Julius, that is his name. Yeah, I've called and called, he's not picking. So possibly it's in their custody. It's only EFCC that can actually confirm that. But I heard he was arrested by EFCC, and I've been calling him, his phones are off. So it's possible that he's arrested. But the truth is, you see, a day of reckoning is always coming. And if you are, like the governor said, he said he doesn't have problem with EFCC. If EFCC call him, he will even hand himself over. It's possible everything he did that we thought is wrong. Maybe it's possible they are right. But if by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and by the law that we have passed in the House of Assembly when our majority leader is something to go by.
Okay, so all the faults now, which you have enumerated, which you have said the governor, the qualities which you said the governor was lacking. I'm hoping, today is Inauguration Day, I'm hoping that the new governor, he certainly must possess those qualities. What would be your expectations then for the people of Edo State as a new government is inaugurated today?
You see, a governor of any state does not need to know everything. But a governor of Edo State or any governor should pray for wisdom. Because when you have wisdom, you employ. Why does the law give you right to employ aides? Because the law knows that you cannot be master of all the profession. That is why it tells you to appoint an accountant general, an attorney general, possibly an AGI in the Ministry of Works and the rest. Why? For you now to use your number 6 to galvanize them towards the vision you want to achieve. But when a governor feels that he knows everything, and all the people he has employed does not even know, he is an engineer, I will not allow an engineer to even complete his statement and say, I know where you are going. He's the doctor, he will tell the doctor, no, I know where you are going. So when you have a governor like that, problem will come. In Okpeholo that I see him as somebody that is ready to gather people together to work for Edo. And I pray that he's able to do that. And I pray also for him that if there's something on that seat that derail them, especially when they get to second term, I pray that this time, this governor of Okpeholo, that spirit that changes their mentality to become self, will not catch up with him. Instead, God's wisdom will guide him to be able to develop us. For me, I need a governor that will fix our state. And we must pray for Okpeholo to be able to be that governor that we work. Because for me, I'm also afraid now because most of them, second term, everything will just change. So something is telling me maybe there's one spirit on that seat that changes their mentality. Because Obaseki, when I speak to Obaseki, the kind of hope that he gives when we're in the first term, it's not the same Obaseki that I know first term that I know in second term. So that's why, for me, I always tell people, say, pray for Okpeholo, pray for him. And why I'm saying they should pray for him, so that if there's one negative spirit that is on that seat, let us destroy the spirit now and let Okpeholo end better than Obaseki.
All right, Excellency, we know you have to catch up with the inauguration today. We do thank you very much indeed for your time this morning. As a matter of fact, we'll be looking out for your signature dance moves. I think they'll be more energetic this morning. So congratulations.
Yeah, I scored a goal day first today.
Oh, okay.
And I'm told that the Manchester United are looking for a terrific scorer, and possibly I may be available for them.
I hope they won't cause them to sack the coach. All right. Thank you for talking to us.
All the best. I want to thank Chamberlain, thank Mao. I also want to thank Channels. You guys have been great. I want to thank you. I cannot thank people enough, because if you don't give us this opportunity to air our views, people will not know we are. Thank you, and keep on doing the best. And I'm looking forward to December when you win another award again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you. All right, so Business Morning comes up now.
Well, hello and welcome to the start of the trading day right here in Lagos, Nigeria. Let's get to the top stories that set your agenda now. We see oil prices were little change in early trade today, awaiting further price direction from OPEC's monthly report after China's stimulus plan and oversupply concerns took the wind out of the markets in price session. So we see Brent now trying to hold on to $70, $71.66 a barrel, down 0.2%. And we see WTI crude losing that $70 psychological level. 68 in early trade now at $67, 0.3% down. Let's get a check now on the FX market. We see, another weakening again, 0.15% at the official window, closed 1,681 naira to the dollar. We see for the NAFEX windows, the same thing, 0.37% down. So weakness in both windows, $1,679. So we still see that range between 1,600, 1,680 at this point. And it's another dip there with the naira settling at a lower range. But at the end of the day, everyone's watching what the inflation number is going to be, that's coming up on Friday, and how the central bank will handle this volatility that we see in the FX market. So other stories now, the value of unsold goods held by Nigerian manufacturers has surged by 357%, reaching 1.24 trillion naira in the first half of 2024. And that's up from 271 billion in the same period last year. This increase, highlighted in the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria's H1 24 economic review, is largely attributed to a sharp decline in consumer purchasing power. Factors such as escalating inflation, removal of fuel subsidies, and the devaluation of the naira have significantly eroded demand and locally produced goods. In response to the mounting challenges, the Nigeria Employers Consultative Association warned that failure to address these issues could lead to more business closures, higher unemployment, and greater social unrest. Meanwhile, the Association of Small Business Owners of Nigeria pointed to the influx of imported goods following the lifting of import bans as another contributing factor to the decline in competitiveness of domestic products. And 18 months after the commencement of commercial operations at the Lekki Deep Sea Port, a new alliance made up of COSCO, One, and Zim shipping lines have been launched at the port. This was signaled by the arrival of EA Centros, one of the largest COSCO vessels to call Nigeria. And this, according to stakeholders, is a major boost to international trade in the country. Take a listen.
The arrival of EA Centauros, a 277-meter-long container vessel with a handling capacity of 7,000 TEUs at the Lekki Deep Sea Port, signals a major advancement in the Nigerian maritime sector and international trade. This is facilitated by the launch of COSCO, One, and Zima Line services at the Deep Sea Port, and stakeholders have come to witness this milestone event.
This event marks a crucial milestone in the terminal development and the capacity expansion of our terminal. The arrival of this service demonstrates once again our commitment to becoming a leading maritime hub in West Africa.
Today, what we celebrate is not only the upgrade of the COSCO VAC3 service, but also another important milestone in the cooperation between China and Nigeria in the field of maritime transport.
This is a result of a concerted effort by the management of Lekki Port, Lekki Freeport Terminal, as well as the Lagos Free Zone.
So this achievement is not the end, but rather the beginning of a new era for Lekki Deep Sea Port. As we continue to expand our operations, we remain fully committed to developing the necessary infrastructure and capacity to meet the evolving demands of international trade.
The launch of this alliance is of a very important economic significance.
It's significant because it gives customers more options and allows more customers to have access to the state-of-the-art facilities that we have in Lekki Port. So it's a really, really momentous occasion for us. And it also allows growth of the enterprises in the Lagos Free Zone, and in fact in the entire Lekki economic axis. Because that means that you can bring in your raw materials through this port, get them in your factory, and then the finished products you can export to other parts of Africa and in fact the world. So this is the economic rejuvenation that we are looking for, and Lekki Port and Lagos Free Zone are here to do our own bit to ensure that the country gets better.
It's been 18 months since the commencement of commercial operations at the Lekki Port. Now that COSCO, One and Zim shipping lines are on board, the opportunities here are becoming endless.
All right, so our first conversation, raising capital in international markets from Nigeria can be a complex and challenging process. The country's uncertain foreign exchange policy and risk of central bank rationing US dollars can make it difficult for businesses to secure this funding. But let's explore strategies Nigerian companies can adopt to access international capital markets and secure the funding they need to grow and expand. Joining us to discuss this is Mojisola Humponu Wosu. She is the founder, CEO, Woodhull Capital. Great to have you on the show. Good morning. So, in light of Nigeria's current economic challenges, what strategies will you say are being implemented to attract foreign investors into the country? We've heard of challenges when it comes to bringing money in and taking all of that out when you want to take profit and move foreign currency out of the country, and we've seen challenges with that. So talk to me about what factors play a critical role in shaping investor confidence in the Nigerian market.
Okay, good morning. It's lovely to be here. At Woodhull Capital, we actually emphasize the strategic position that Nigeria in particular plays in the African ecosystem with a growing youthful population and an entrepreneurial population. So we try to focus and emphasize on the strategic nuances of Nigeria and on its own and its positioning as the largest economy in Africa. We liaise with various international investors, international banks, DFIs, and we showcase the best of what's available in this country. We showcase various economies or various businesses in technology, in agribusiness, in hospitality, particularly in healthcare. And I don't know if you follow us and the story of Woodhull Capital, we are actually positioning a license that we got from Central Bank of Nigeria to focus on the creative economy. These are the various things or some of the things that we do to ensure that international investors have a spotlight on what's available in Nigeria.
And I know you deal with most of these international investors. Do you think they're warming up to investing in Nigeria more than the previous administration?
I certainly think that there are efforts with the current government to showcase the diversification of options in the country, particularly the non-oil exports. I certainly think that the regulatory framework, and there's efforts with the regulatories and particularly the central bank when it comes to the international capital markets, to reduce currency fluctuations and the volatility inherent in that. So there are efforts, and I think they are being noticed, and they are attracting some level of interest from international investors, yes.
We keep talking about, SME funding, and, I know you've secured some money, about $25 million, to, fund some of these SMEs. So talk to me about how these funds will be allocated, and how SMEs can actually access these kind of funds, that companies mostly have.
Yeah, so indeed we announced last week that we signed a $25 million line, particularly focusing on SMEs. And what we plan to do first and foremost before deploying and disbursing is to actually identify the various SMEs that may need capacity building, particularly in their due diligence, ensuring that there's business transparency, and making sure that they have access to international markets. So the line that we announced last week will be focused on export-ready SMEs, those who have capacity to export, because we believe that this would help generate FX income and revenue for the country. So the line would, first and foremost, would focus on capacity building, ensuring that they have access to markets, that they're export ready, that they actually understand what the international markets need, make sure that the quality of the products that they are getting ready is up to international standards. Then we'll begin to help them pay suppliers or pay local businesses and create funding across the value chain until exports.
And, looking at some of these, export-oriented SMEs, are you seeing, some that have, potential to actually do very well, when it comes to, exports and, somehow also produce and supply locally?
Yes, so of course, the obvious one and the obvious new one in the international funding space will be the entertainment industry. There's an uptick of interest in the entertainment industry, and people particularly don't think of them when it comes to SMEs, but you'd find that a few of them are S's, small, and quite a few of them are medium when you compare them to the amount of international funding that is available. And if you look at the film and the music industry, if we look at a unique new economy, you'd find that they are providing their services locally and internationally at the same time. And partnering, and we're exploring different partnerships with this creative economy, and this particularly in the film and music industry. And if you look at it, at the same time as they're serving the local economy, they're exporting their services to the international markets. And that fungibility is of great interest to firms like Woodhull Capital. On the other side is the agribusiness, healthcare, technology-driven businesses, light manufacturing. We are particularly interested in sitting with them, understanding what their funding needs are, particularly their international funding needs, and sitting with them, bringing other partners that maybe could provide local funding, and ensuring that they're export ready, enforcing their funding capacity so that they can compete globally, compete internationally. So giving them that platform, funding platform, helping businesses with due diligence. There's a platform that we've partnered with Afrexim called Mansa that helps with due diligence, business transparency, information to international investors that may want to have more information on these. So we have a platform called MANSA that provides due diligence information. Then there's a Trans-Africa or Pan-African Payments Infrastructure System called PSS, Pan-African Payment Settlements platform, that helps move money across Africa. And why this is important is when SMEs come to export and sell to various clients across Africa, there's the cross-currency issues when you're selling to suppliers in Kenya, in Nairobi, in Kenya, in Zimbabwe. How do they pay you? How do you get your products to them? How do you pay local ports and other local agencies? So the Pan-African Payment Settlement System helps with that. And Woodhull Capital are agents and market makers on those platforms. So we are not only advertising and showcasing some of these companies to the international markets, we're actually getting involved in every single thing that removes the bottlenecks for them to compete effectively and at international standards.
And definitely, you know, when investing in a business or SME, you know, sometimes the ideas are so shiny, but when you put your money in, sometimes you get a different outcome. So how do you assess risk?
With SMEs, it's a unique sector in the economy. We try to identify those that have ready information. We try to make sure that we have data insight into them, record keeping, and that's why I said at the start that although we announced the 25 million, the huge role for us, irrespective of whether or not we have funding to disburse, is capacity building. So making them understand what is needed, making them understand what unlocks funding, I think, is the most important thing. Then sitting down with them and identifying those that, as I said earlier, are export ready and export funding ready. It's working closely with them, helping them develop their business plans, helping them develop their projections, and helping them identify markets and accessing markets, international markets that they can sell to. There's a platform, an African Trade Gateway platform, that has been set up again by Afreximbank, in which again we are market makers, where we allow them visibility and we provide visibility in this platform for both buyers and sellers. So SMEs, not only SMEs, but in this particular case, SMEs will be onboarded into that platform and will give them visibility to the international markets, and buying and selling occurs on that platform, and that's the African Trade Gateway platform.
All right, thank you so much. It was great having your perspective. That was Mojisola Humponu-Wosu, founder, CEO, Woodhull Capital, and definitely, wish you the best in most of this funding. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we'll take a break now. When we come back, let's find out what's playing out with PMS prices. Is there hope for affordable PMS? You'll find out in a moment. Just stay with us. Welcome back to the commodities market. Now we have Mr. Bismarck Ruwani, MD, Financial Derivatives Company, join us via Zoom. Great to have you on the show, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So we got that screaming headline, last night, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, that's IPMAN, securing an agreement with Dangote Refinery to lift products directly. So is this where we, consumers of fuel, pop champagne?
Yes, I didn't quite get that question, but if I thought what I heard was what you said, then let me start off by saying that we have seen some changes have taken place since Trump got his re-election bid, and we've seen the dollar strengthen remarkably and commodity prices drop. So we are facing a situation where the price of oil is about $71 a barrel. But strangely speaking, in spite of all of this, the Naira held its own at 1735. So that's good. The currency, the dollar appreciated against the basket of currencies, but held steady against the Naira. So that's positive. Well, what does that mean? We also understand that there might be some hope for an increase in oil production, which means that all things being equal, if our oil production increases, then we might be, but the increase in production may compensate for reduction in price. But the reduction in price actually means good oil price. It means that pump price of petrol may actually begin to stabilize at the current levels of about 1050.
Mr. Rodney, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, but can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Oh, fantastic. So what I actually asked was, now that IPMAN can lift, products directly from the Dangote refinery, is it time for consumers to celebrate?
No, the Dangote refinery, like we've already said clearly, that IPMAN has an agreement with Dangote to buy from the refinery. Basically, the market structure is such that there's a major dominant producer, which is the Dangote refinery. The other refineries which are going through the turnaround maintenance, and then we have modular refineries. So essentially, you have a price leader, and then the others are price followers. Again, I must say this, and I've said it so many times, the cost of the product is different from the price of the product. The cost is what we are debating. If the price is higher than the cost, then there's a margin. If the price is lower than the cost, then there's a subsidy. Right now, we are almost at the point where the price and the cost are almost equal. So what happens going on forward? Now, one is that the IPMAN, which are the independent marketers, are going to be buying from Dangote, but they have the option to import if they want to, and they can buy from the NNPC. The other, the major marketers have already resolved with the Dangote refinery, and they've agreed on some pricing formula. Then also you have the major global oil traders, which is Vitol, Trafigura, and Glencore, begin to buy refined products from Dangote and shipping across West Africa. So Nigeria will be earning some dollars from that project. So the thing comes back to, what does this mean for the viability of the Dangote refinery? I think it's good. The initial teething problems are kind of going to be worked out, and then we begin to see a consistent pickup of demand in this area. But what is important is that what we have heard and what we are seeing is that it is possible that our total demand for PMS in a day comes to about 30 to 32 million liters, as against the projected and the exaggerated view that we're consuming 70 million liters a day. If that is the case, then we are actually going to be consuming about 48% of what we were supposed to be consuming. That reduces, to a large extent, the external imbalances of this currency for the country. So I think that's a good development.
And it's the inflation reporting season. We're expecting Nigeria's headline inflation for October. That's coming up Friday from the MBS. So what are you seeing?
Yes, the FDC econometric model is showing up a number of 33.29, which is about 0.7% higher than what it was in the month of September. And what are the usual suspects? Again, food items. Food inflation is increasing, but also core inflation has increased to about 27.62%. Now, having said that, what it does mean is that we are comparing the price of goods in October 2024, the price of goods in October 2023. But guess what? In October 2023, the Naira to dollar exchange rate was 810. In October 2024, the Naira exchange rate was 1740. So the Naira more than lost its almost 100% of its value relative to the position. It was 810 to 1740 is significant. Therefore, if for example the dollar was 1740 at this time last year, there would have been actually a reduction in inflation. So the base year effect is that the value of the currency is the major causative factor of inflation, whether it's food or non-food, because people use it as a benchmark for benchmarking their goods. One. Two, if the currency depreciates, it means that export smuggling becomes more attractive. People are smuggling goods across the border. So what does this mean? In the final analysis, three things are happening: harvest season, Christmas demand, and exchange rate flatlining. If those three things happen, then we will begin to see a moderation in inflation coming in January and February. But for now, for the month of October, inflation is going to go up to 33. It is possible also that November inflation will increase marginally. because what we have seen is that the increases in the price of petrol are becoming smaller and smaller. So you're going from 989 to 1030 to 1050, maybe to 1080 or 1,100, because the price of crude is dropping to $70 a barrel. So all things being equal, the inflation trajectory that was taking us all the way up is beginning to moderate. The higher interest rates is going to have an effect on people's purchasing power. And we are beginning to see some marginal increases in output. The only problem we see today is the power supply. The power cuts, the national grid is actually impeding output and actually leading to higher inflation.
And definitely, how do you see all of this impacting the decision? We have the rate setting meeting coming up this month by CBN MPC.
I didn't get that again.
How do you see all of this impacting the decision at the next rate setting meeting by the MPC?
Yes, if I heard you right, there's the NNPC factor, and we also are having, I think, I got that right, we are beginning to see the effect of these on domestic commodities, of this increase in the price of petrol and power cuts on domestic prices. If I'm speculating that I'm getting you right. Now, what it does mean is that we've seen, and I can go to specifics, we've seen the price of rice drop from 120, 130 to 110,000 naira for a bag. We've seen the price of onions spike sharply. And we've seen also the price of flour, imported wheat flour, stay flat at 65,000. But what is more, the drastic increase we've seen is that of onions, which is now 150,000 naira a bag. You have the red onions and the white onions, and both are going higher. But cassava gari has actually come down by almost 2% to 37,000 naira. And diesel, the major component that drives logistics, the price of diesel is flat at about 1,120 naira as of this morning. So if that remains that, in fact, diesel is probably more expensive now than petrol. If that remains that way, then we believe that we might be seeing some little flickers of hope at the end of a very dark and long tunnel with the cost of living crisis, what is resulting in all sorts of frustration of the people. The misery index has increased, and hopefully by January, and it's tongue-in-cheek I'm saying, by January we're going to see a moderation in inflation in January, February, and then we're going to see a slight appreciation in the naira at that time.
Okay. All right, Mr. Rani, I'm definitely hoping for that flicker of hope that you mentioned there. Thank you so much, Mr. Bismarck Rani, MD CEO of Financial Derivatives Company. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Right here in Lagos, Nigeria, the markets are trading right now. Definitely we'll be getting you intraday analysis on Business Incorporated at 1 p.m. Thank you for watching. I'm Ladi Williams. I hand things over to the Sunrise Daily team.
We independent petroleum marketers, we are still waiting NNPC to load our product. Presently, as I'm speaking now, we have over 40 billion naira outstanding with the NNPC to load product. And my marketers are always looking the way they can get this product direct. So I'm very surprised when I heard the President Dangote say he has over 500 million liters of PMS. And we independent petroleum marketers, if he can be able to sell this product to us direct, definitely we are ready to buy the product. Because we have to pay before we pick. Presently, just like what I have said, we have over 40 billion naira under the NNPCL custody. We cannot be able to source this product. And just of recent, there are some of my marketers, independent petroleum marketers, that NNPC sent to go and load in Dangote refinery. I'm telling you, those marketers, they stay with their trucks over 4 days. They cannot be able to load. So there are so many challenges.
Why?
Well, in fact, I didn't know the reason. And that is the reason why we have been contacting Dangote management to allow us to start taking this product direct.
All right, so there you go. Ever since then, the president of IPMAN has announced that they have reached an agreement with Dangote to supply them petroleum products directly, which is what they have always been wanting for a while. So he will be joining us soon to talk to us about the implications of all of these things. I know, chief of what a lot of people want to hear is, how does this impact on the price of petroleum products? Is it going to go any lower? And how much lower? If it's going to go any lower than it already is at the moment. Does this then mean, or does it have an implication on the future prices? So what do we expect? Well, those are some of the issues that we'll expect him to talk to us in just a moment.
Indeed, Chimling, we'll be expecting, clarity on that. As you've said, price is the meat of the matter.
Absolutely.
Is at the heart of the matter. Well, in some places, availability, but I think that largely, our question of availability has been sorted in many places, at least here in the Federal Capital Territory. But for those who are watching this program, I mean, you can let us know what availability is like in your area, because we understand that for months in Lagos, I was informed that even though there seemed to be availability here in Abuja, it does appear that in Lagos, there were places where there were queues. And I know that Lagos and Abuja are not the only places in Nigeria. There are many other cities. But I understand that people in other cities have always wondered, what are they talking about? Where is the scarcity? There is scarcity here. It's the price. We don't even know what people are talking about in terms of petrol being sold at about 1,000 naira or 1,100. We're buying from upwards of 1,005 and above in some cities around the country. So there have been big questions as to what exactly is going on with the pricing of petrol. And I think that, it's time for us to at least have a little more clarity as to whether this new deal that has been signed between Dangote, this new agreement that has been reached between Dangote refineries and IPMAN as the independent marketers will have any effect whatsoever. Because before now, we had understood that there was some conflict. And I think the marketers have always said that, they had no problem, that they were willing to go to Dangote to buy by themselves. The only issue that they had was that they had deposited some money to the NNPC, and they wanted their monies back. These monies were lots of money for them to be able, I think you're talking about between 12 and 15 billion naira at that time, to enable them go back and be able to buy from Dangote refineries directly. So we'll wait to get some clarity on that as to whether that has now been sorted between IPMAN and the NNPC, and whether, the new deal that they have or the new agreement that they have with Dangote refineries will have any impact on the pricing. Which is the big question everybody's asking. So we'll wait no further. Let's just go ahead and hear from him. Good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Yeah, good morning, Chamberlain.
Well, first is good news.
Good morning. You're welcome, sir.
Maybe you'll tell us, first of all, if it is good news for Nigerians, because the good news for them will be impact on the price. And the good news for you is that you've reached an agreement. So first of all, just break it down for us. What exactly is this agreement about?
Well, as always we have been talking, we said we independent petroleum marketers, we wanted a situation whereby we can be able to get our product direct from the supplier. And we are very happy with Dangote because we visited him, we sat down together with him one-on-one, and he agreed. He will start allowing us to purchase product direct through him, just the way NNPC has been buying. So that is our agreement, and my marketers are very, very happy, and they are ready to key into the program nationwide in the whole Nigeria.
So, is that on paper right now, that agreement?
Yes.
Papers have been signed?
Yes.
So what happened to the previous money which you said you had paid through the NNPC?
Yes, the NNPC, they have been paying our money back. We have been loading, and the money is reducing drastically. So actually, that one is not a problem to us now. But the only thing still, there are some remaining balance that they cannot be able to tell our marketers to load the product. Just day before yesterday, I speak with the MD retail, and he tell me the remaining balance that we have with him, which we too wanted to see a situation whereby we can go and reconcile and see, is this the actual remaining balance, or there are some balance that at least we need from them.
Okay, at least good to know. So far, so good. The NNPC, everybody working together to make sure this works. So tell us, what is the implication of this agreement in terms of the price? What should the average person who buys this product expect? First of all, petrol and maybe diesel.
Well, you know, just as we have been saying, we have the overall market in the country, and we go everywhere in the country. Anywhere you go, any side of the country, you see independent petroleum marketers filling station there. So the implication, it's not because sometimes people are thinking just about the issue of the price. No, it has passed beyond the issue of price. But the price is the main target, because masses are looking a way that we independent petroleum marketers, we can reduce price for them, and the price too will reduce because we are not buying through the third party. So the profit that we have been giving to the third party like NNPC and depot owners, now we reduce it, we give it to the masses. So that is the issue. That is one. And then again, the availability too is there. Just like if a marketer pay a product, as we have been paying from the NNPC retail and the other DAPMAN owners, they hold our money for a very long time before they allowed us to load. So that is the reason why sometimes you may find some of our filling station doesn't have product. But now, since we are getting the product direct in a refinery, then there is no that issue of delay in loading. So immediately when we pay, we load our product and discharge inside our filling stations.
No, but that certainly will still take a distance. But we haven't, you have seemed to address more, your address seems to be more about availability. But we've seen that, you know, over time now, it seems that we're reaching a place where there is availability. But what effect do you think this will have on the price? By how much? And when you say you're going to pass that difference that, you know, DAPMAN and NNPC were taking before, you're going to give that discount now to customers or to consumers. By how much can consumers expect that the price of petrol will come down at the filling stations?
And you know, the way things are, as all we know that the sector is fully deregulated.
Yes.
There is no subsidy. So as we are buying direct through Dangote, we are adding value to refinery because we buy the commodity and we make it available everywhere. So since we have been buying this product in Naira, not in dollar, so you may find we may reach a situation whereby, one, we assisted the Nigerian government in reducing unemployment opportunity to those people who are working in Dangote, because many Nigerians are working there. Then secondly, the economy of the country too the value of Naira will appreciate because we have been buying through Dangote refinery.
I appreciate these things.
Okay.
But what I'm asking is a more direct question. Let me give you an instance. What's the current price of petrol now in, say, Maiduguri, for instance?
Well, you know, the current price, let's say in Maiduguri now is 1,200 Naira per liter.
Per liter.
For IPMAN station?
For IPMAN station. So with these current changes, it may likely to reduce to 150 Naira, which there is a reduction of 50 Naira.
So that's 1,150.
This one I'm just citing an example, yes. 1,150.
Yeah, so people can expect at least like a price reduction of about 50 Naira.
That is what I have been saying. It may likely, or even below that.
Okay.
And as we continue, you know this thing, since it's deregulation,
yes,
as we continue,
it can go down,
it can go down continuously. Because provided that the product is available, you may find that the market will come a little bit low, and then the Naira will start appreciating. And then if the crude oil price too reduce, automatically the same thing, it will be reducing.
Okay. So while that is the situation, I also want to know, what do you make of this conflict? Yeah, IPMAN has now reached this deal. There's another association that had been saying that they would prefer to import their own products because, according to them, the pricing being given to them by Dangote refineries was too high, or they felt they could get it cheaper elsewhere, and so they were seeking import licenses. What do you make of that? Have you been able to look outside to see that the price that Dangote refinery was offering is, will I say, more than what you could obtain from the outside?
Well, you know, we independent petroleum marketers, we are being designed in such a way that we patronize the Nigerian market, because we went to encourage Dangote refinery so that it may reach a situation whereby those NNPC depots that we have, that is 21 depots all over the country, in a situation whereby the pipelines will be rectified so that they can be able to push this product to the various depots. And the only way anybody who brings investment in the country is to see that marketers assisted him so that he can be able to achieve that availability of the commodity that he was being selling.
So you are not concerned about any other product that is coming from outside of Nigeria?
No, sincerely speaking, according to the way we do our CWC meeting, we all agree to patronize Dangote, because we know it is only through patronizing him that this petroleum product will start coming down. And we encourage Nigerian market.
Okay, so now that you're patronizing him, could you tell us, how much are you buying from him?
The price?
Yes.
Just like what I have told you, presently, he gives us the price of there are two different prices. There is the one that we can load through the vessels and carry to our various depots at the rate of 940 naira per liter. Then for the depots, it's at the rate of 990 naira per liter.
Why is that difference?
This one is the main. This one you have to load it and carry it to another part
of the country.
Of the country. No, not of the country, of the state. You know, we use vessels to carry this product. It's two ways. There is one that we can load in the loading gantry, and there is one that we can load through the vessels. So through the vessels like Port Harcourt, Warri, Calabar, we have to use vessels because there is no Dangote loading gantry there. We have to carry it to our private depot and discharge and distribute it to our.
So naturally, when you load from gantry, it should be cheaper.
Yes.
Okay. So how much?
Not will be cheaper. It depends, because this one is 960 or 940.
Then the
other one is 990.
Okay. So the difference is there. So how much should we expect to buy, or how much should people expect to buy petrol from IPMAN stations in Lagos and Abuja, for instance?
Well, all the assurance that I will be giving you with this new development, our product, independent petroleum marketers, will be cheaper.
Yeah, how much? NNPC is
no,
what,
I cannot specifically say it because it depends on the place that you are going to carry the product. It depends on the distance. But all what I know, both NNPC, DAPMAN, and NNPC, DAPMAN, and which one again?
IPMAN?
MEMAN.
Oh, MOMAN.
MOMAN.
Major marketers.
MEMAN, major marketers now. So all of them, by God's grace, what we are trying to see, our product is cheaper. Wherever they are selling product, our own is cheaper than their product.
Assuming their product is 1,060, your product should be cheaper than 1,060.
Yes, we may decide to sell 1,055.
1,055.
It's a difference. Because we are in the regulation period, so you may not expect the price to be so much difference. But at least any reduction, even if it's one...
Why wouldn't it be so much different?
No, the reason why it will not be so much different because already there is no subsidy in any of the commodity. So you have to sell the way you obtain.
Yeah, but you said that the profits you were giving to maybe DAPMAN and NNPC...
No, this one that I have been telling
different.
you, I'm just citing an example. I said no matter how, our price will be a little bit lower.
So if we see any petrol station that sells higher than 1,060, are they still IPMAN members? Would anything happen?
I'm not trying to say 1,060 because it differs on the location.
No, I'm saying assuming in the states where it is 1,060. Because if you use NNPC cost as benchmark in any state, anyone that sells above that,
yes, with this recent development, definitely anywhere you go, you will find that at the end of the day, we have the cheapest price.
But we also understand, and talk to us about it, that the landing cost has dropped. Does this have any impact on how much you're expected to buy from anywhere, either from Dangote or anywhere?
But you know, already I tell you, we tell our members to buy through Dangote or any Nigerian refinery because we have full satisfaction of the product.
Mm. You are basing your pricing, because what you're saying is that, you know, as against MOMAN and DAPMAN and NNPC, you are hoping that, you know, this new deal you have reached, the price of your product will be cheaper.
Yes.
Yeah, but there are those who are saying, there's another association which is saying that they are looking to buy from outside because their prices, the price they're getting at the refinery is not going to be, or they're getting locally, is not going to favor them. So they are looking to import into the country. And they're also not major marketers. They are mostly made up of independents, even though they're not under the umbrella of IPMAN.
Yeah.
If their own prices are cheaper than yours, don't you think that your own members might begin to look in that direction as well?
No, I don't think somebody will go and buy Dangote standard outside at a lower rate than what Dangote is selling. If it's the same standard.
Now we're talking about standards, but we know that for a long time now, there's been no differentiation of what type of petrol Nigerians are buying. All that Nigerians have really, I mean, nobody has wondered whether the petrol is leaded, unleaded petrol. We don't know all those things. And we haven't really seen an attempt to really introduce standardization into the market.
But what is there? Remember that before, we doesn't have any functional refinery. So anything that they brought outside, we consume.
No, but there's a standard of what we should bring into this country.
But today now we have a refinery that we know is being approved by the NMDPPRA, and his product is being approved.
No, but before, even if we don't have functional refineries, the NNDPRA is the authority who ensures that the standard of petroleum product that comes to this country stays at a certain one. What's the standard? What, 90? Is it 90 wrong, they say? You know the standard. So anybody importing any product should not go beyond that standard, because if the person does, the authority is supposed to wade in. That's the way it works, isn't it? So why would anyone be bothered about whether we had refinery at that time or not? The standard still remains. That's what it is, isn't it?
You know, as we have a refinery today in our country, this refinery is inside Nigeria. So we independent petroleum marketers, just like what I have told you, we are not saying that people should not import, but this is where our weight is. Because that is what we have seen, and that is what we are sure of.
So are you going to put a label? Because I mean, as Nigerians, I'm just trying to imagine, you know, how it works. Unless you are going to, your members now will be required to now put a signpost beside the nameplates of their filling stations to say IPMAN member patronizing locally made in Nigeria petrol. You know, I don't know, because usually when people are driving, all they know is that they want to enter a filling station and they want to be able to buy petrol. They usually do not ask whether the petrol station belongs to IPMAN members or whether they belong to other associations that are getting this petrol cheaper. So that's what I'm saying, that, you know, will your members, at the end of the day, your members are in business to make profit. Isn't that correct? And I'm sure that's why you're also reaching this deal with Dangote to get to a cheaper price for your members that is competitive within the market. So if somebody else, if another association is saying, no, we can get it even way cheaper, don't you think that your members will start to look in that direction as well?
No, you know what I'm just trying to tell you? You know, even this statement that you have mentioned, you say some other marketers said. But this is what we have said. So that one, a difference will be clear at the end of the day. Because those people who are buying products, if they buy, they have seen what they have buy is not good, they will not go back to that particular filling station.
Well, you know...
How would they know that?
That's the thing, because...
How would they know that? That's the question I'm asking you.
That is what I've been telling you. I said before, because we doesn't have a refinery. But today, we have a refinery that is capable of producing.
I know, Alaji, as I'm just trying to put, I'm a Nigerian. By the grace of God, I own a vehicle. And I buy petrol in my vehicle. And I know that all I do is I ask, is this filling station selling? Do they have petrol? And I just drive right up there and I open my tank and they fill it. I don't say, what kind of petrol is it? I don't say, what standard is it? I don't say, where did you get your petrol from? I just buy at whatever price they're selling as long as the petrol is available. The question I'm asking you is, how do you then begin to differentiate between the petrol you are selling from that others are going to be getting from abroad if it's cheaper?
You know what you have been saying. Before, you even see the station that has petrol to buy is
a problem. Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Good. So that is the reason why that time you have been entering anyhow. But with this feature of the regulation, from now you will start understanding where I'm supposed to buy my fuel. Then you look at the cost, how much this one is selling. Then by the time maybe you go and buy a lower cost, you didn't get what you wanted to get, you will not go back there.
How do you intend to do that differentiation? That's what I'm asking you. How will your members stand out to say, we are the ones selling quality petrol?
It's a process which we have started. Before, all of us, both major marketers, independent petroleum marketers, IPMAN, before we all buy our product in one source. But now, just as you have said, there are another source. Some people will go and import, but we say we are not part of importation.
All right, so the bottom line is this, it's about affordability. If people are importing and Nigerians see that, this product is available in the country, they expect that it would have gone through the process. NNDPRA, I think they call them the authority, they are the ones to ensure that any product that comes into this country meets the requisite standard. And if it goes through them and it's here, it means it's met the standard. And if it's cheaper, Nigerians will go there and buy because they won't write, this is imported, this is not imported. So if this agreement with you and Dangote is there, if it's not going to make prices cheaper for people, I wonder how it's almost clear how people will respond. But you say we should be optimistic. It's a process. And that your product eventually should be lower. That's what people want to hear, actually. Thank you for coming on, and we hope that everything
thank you very much,
keeps getting cheaper by the day. After all, landing contracts
and available
dropped.
too is very important.
And available?
Availability.
All right. Thank you for coming on, Mr. Abubakar Garima, National President of IPMAN. Well, that wraps it up today on the program. We'll thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time. I'm Chamberlain Osop. Goodbye.
Thank you for watching. I'm Maokwe Ogoni. Bye for now.